Hey guys, how's it going? It's the Crypto Lark here from Wellington. Today we are talking about the Cybermiles ICO. I'm really excited about this one. They are creating a smart business contract platform. We're going to be talking about who they're partnered with, what's going on in the space in general, and what they're bringing to the table, and how you can get involved in the ICO if you do want to get involved in this ICO. All that and more after a quick shout out to everyone who has been hitting that like button, and of course everybody who has been subscribing to the channel. Thank you so much everyone for your support. Disclaimer, this is not professional financial advice. This is an ICO as well, so you do always have to keep in mind that there is a certain amount of inherent risk in investing in any ICO. Please do your own research before investing any of your own money. And further disclaimer, I am working in coordination with the team over at Cybermiles and the team at Cobinhood, which is a big part of our story today as well, but I have reserved the right to do an independent review of this project, and I'm quite excited about it, so let's get into it and have a look. Now, an important part of the story here is Cobinhood. If you remember, we reviewed Cobinhood's ICO a few weeks ago on this channel. One of the very important services that Cobinhood is offering is the Ico Underwriting Service. Fantastic. Cobinhood has taken a lot of guesswork out of thinking about contributing to an ICO. They've of course talked to them, verified them, made sure they're a real company doing real things. And of course Cybermiles is no exception to that. They're actually a really interesting company doing really interesting things. Cobinhood underwriting them just adds a fantastic element to this story. Now you might be asking yourself, well, why do we need this anyway? Well, e-commerce is one of the legacy businesses that is ripe for disruption on so many levels. Highly centralized services, high costs, both something that are going to be able to be changed massively by blockchain technology, not to mention of course that you have the single site problem. If you have a universal identity based on the Cybermiles blockchain, for example, you'll be able to use any e-commerce platform supported on that blockchain, and of course with cross-chain technology it'll become even more valuable. Really interesting solution to the e-commerce problem. Now that we know what the use cases are and who the key players are who are backing the Cybermiles project, let's talk about Cybermiles and see just what it is that they are trying to do with their platform. Now, they give a lot of examples here using 5 miles as the use case. However, this is applicable to many more companies than simply 5 miles. Of course, they are setting up a smart contract platform, and it goes way beyond what 5 miles is going to do with this platform. It is just the first customer. Now, some things that will benefit the e-commerce industry with blockchain will be, for example, not having any downtime on your websites because you don't have a centralized website. You will be able to keep uptime as the nodes will be securing the network, not a centralized website. They're offering peer mediation in exchange for CMT tokens. I thought that was pretty cool. So both the buyer and the seller have to put up a bond. If there's a problem, a peer mediator comes in and gets rewarded for mediating that, really focusing on building community and community involvement in the process. Groups are aiming to be more powerful here. Now, traditionally, a lot of e-commerce platforms, yeah, they have groups, but they're not very active. There's not a lot of incentive to join or to continue to participate. However, with Cybermiles, you're actually incentivized in a lot of ways. You're incentivized as an admin. You can charge paid subscription fees to the groups, for example. As an advertiser, you can pay to advertise to a specific group, for example. So there's lots of ways to monetize it, which traditional formats don't really offer you. Next up, we have the ability to get paid to see those ads. Now that is really interesting. So an ad might look something like this. So you'll be offered to look at an ad by a local seller, and you'll be able to say, well, if I look at this ad, I'll actually get paid to look at this ad. Fantastic. Not only does that incentivize people to actually look at the ads, so if you've been looking for a car online, you're incentivized to open and look at the ad, and it helps the seller know that their ads are actually getting to the right people who are actually interested in seeing their car ad. So that, of course, is fantastic. If you've been following the crypto space closely recently, you'll know that the big thing right now is good governance. Cybermiles is really offering that good governance model. Now, some of the problems with legacy e-commerce platforms, account closure and censorship, for example. Imagine you're a seller and you've got a good reputation and a good account, and for some reason your account's closed. No explanation from the platform, they just do it. Now, here, again, we see a peer review process. If you think that an account is fraudulent or should be closed, well, you can actually start a process where your peers from the network will come and investigate that, look at it, and based on a plurality vote, will decide whether or not that account should be closed if they are doing things which breach the norms of the platform and the community. So I like that. That's really interesting. Really, again, focusing on community involvement and rewarding people for being involved in the community. This is such the way forward for businesses in the future. Reward people for taking part instead of expecting their participation for free. Now look, that's just the start of the story. There is so much more that this blockchain can bring. That's just what 5 Miles is planning on doing with it. Also, we can go so much farther here. We can see escrow services, anti-counterfeiting services, cryptocurrency efficient supply chains, identity on the blockchain. Now that's of course really great for sellers who want to go across multiple platforms and take their reputation with them. That's fantastic. Peer-to-peer loans, and even e-commerce ICOs. So this in itself will be a platform which will bring ICOs forward. Great. So much to do with this blockchain. Very, very interesting stuff indeed. Therefore, I think we need to talk a little bit more about the tech, a little bit more about the blockchain itself, guys, because it's a pretty exciting blockchain project. Let's open up Cybermiles and have a look under the hood and try and figure out what is the engine that's going to be driving this blockchain. What they're bringing forward something called smart business contracts. And what's a smart business contract, and why is that better than Ethereum's smart contracts? Well, it's still a virtual machine. However, over on Ethereum, the software is usually handled by dApps. Here, however, we're going to be seeing node support for the software. Basically, a big stack of integrated software native to the blockchain, which will be reusable. Thousands of templates will be available. All the tools that you will need to start and run your e-commerce business. Great, love it. The easier, the better. They're bringing the next step to smart contracts. Now that we know the components of the engine, how fast does it go? That's what we all want to know. 10,000 transactions per second. Blocks will be coming under 10 seconds. This is a delegated proof of stake coin. Of course, good for the environment, but also makes for a great earning potential. Now, it's about 8% per year. That may change after 10 years. That may go up or down, but it is currently set at 8% per year for staking, which puts it on the higher end of stakeable coins. Great. Now that we know what we have under the hood driving the blockchain, let's have a look at the team, because this is another fantastic component of Cybermiles. They have got some stellar people behind this project, people who have been in the tech space for a long, long time, bringing forward great projects, people who have been working on Alibaba, Firefox, and lots of different projects across the technology and blockchain space. So really, really great stuff to see here with the team, and some very good advisors on the team as well. Let's move on and talk about the competition a little bit. Now, a big competitor in the space, of course, is eBay. Now, what is going to make the Cybermiles blockchain better than eBay? Well, First off, eBay is not a blockchain. eBay is a legacy auction company. Now look, they're one of the biggest auction companies in the world. Absolutely. But challengers like 5 Miles through the Cybermiles project will be able to really compete in a serious way with these legacy competitors. So I see it as big competition to companies like eBay, who have giant fees, centralized services, and all the other problems that we mentioned earlier. Now you might say, hey Lark, okay, but what about some of the other blockchain players in the space? Well, you might talk about Syscoin, you might talk about SafeX, for example. But what we're really looking at here with these companies is that they're niche companies. Cybermiles is a blockchain protocol. It goes way above and beyond what Syscoin is doing. Syscoin could be on the Cybermiles blockchain. You can think of it that way. Now, farther on, of course, we have companies like EOS and, of course, Ethereum, who are big competitors in the smart contract space. Obviously, EOS and Ethereum both are continually upgrading the networks and will provide real competition to projects like Cybermiles. You have to keep that in mind. Now, the value that Cybermiles is bringing forward is, of course, the integrated software, but also that they are really focused on e-commerce and that they are setting themselves up to be an e-commerce smart contract platform. Ethereum is everything to everybody. EOS is still 9 months away from finishing its ICO. So we got a long time before we see anything out of EOS in the future. That being said, there's still competition in that space, but Cybermiles has got its place carved out in that arena. Let's have a quick browse through the roadmap, and that's going to help us understand a little bit more where Cybermiles is going and what they're planning on doing. Started April 2014. That's 5 Miles, of course, the company behind Cybermiles. They've been working on their app for a long time. They've been working for a long time building their customer base. Now the whole thing's moving to blockchain. Now look, the 5 Miles app will begin accepting CMT tokens in June 2018. But PIVX Lab is only going to be launching version 1 of Cybermiles in December 2018. So that's about a year from now. You got to understand, if you're going to get in on Cybermiles, you got to hold on to it for at least a year. You'd be crazy to buy it at the ICO and then sell it any time before the full version launches. So that is something you do need to keep in mind if you're looking at investing in this smart contract platform. If you want to get involved in this ICO and you're from the USA or you're from Canada, I've got great news for you guys, because you are welcome to participate in this one. So yes, get involved if you want to, guys. The initial token generation event will create 1 billion tokens. Of those 1 billion tokens, 700 million are for sale to the general public. The other 300 million are divided up 10% for a reserve fund, 10% for the 5 Miles team, and 10% for the Cybermiles team. Both of those have a 2.5-year vesting period to make sure that the teams are incentivized to stick with it and see the project through to its end. Very good to see that indeed. Now it's 7,000 CMT to 1 Ethereum. If you want to get involved, you do have to come over here and get registered. Click on the Participate Now button and it'll walk you through the process to get registered for the ICO. Now, they're only issuing 700 million tokens. Well, that sounds like a lot, but that's only about 100,000 Ethereum, which equates to about $30 million, which actually puts this as a really, really good ICO as well, because the market's not going to be totally flooded with these tokens. We see that these uncapped ICOs where they raise hundreds of millions of dollars flood onto the market. At only $30 million, I think this is going to be a well subscribed to ICO, and that when it hits the market, there'll be really good flipping potential and really great long-term holding potential for these, as the buy-in cost is relatively cheap. If you want to get involved in this ICO, come over here to the Cybermiles website. I'll have a link to it down below, so come over and check it out. Read through the white paper, read through the technical paper, browse around the website, and see if this is something that you want to put your money into. I really like it. I think it's a fantastic project. Let's see how they go. Thank you so much for checking it out, guys. Hit me up in the comment section down below if you have any questions or comments about this ICO. Long live the blockchain, and peace out till next time, guys.